some families or cultures or religions, a girl or a woman isn't allowed to use family planning if her partner doesn't think she should. You know, so she has little autonomy over what she does with her own body in that regard.
Yeah. A lot of men refuse and they don't want to use condoms. And so then if you're not in a situation growing up where you have access to information, which is a privileged situation to be in a lot of the time, then you're just left in the cold not knowing how to navigate it. Because even before we get into talk about contraception, we don't teach people about sex. There's a lot of shame and stigma that happens around the young women that want to go and seek out options. Teaching about sex in school has been like a decade-old debate in Trinidad.
People, again, have a lot of different misconceptions about, you know, contraception and family planning, and so it has so many barriers to, you know, bringing that education there and making that available for women and couples. I think that there's a direct relationship between providing education, sexual health education for women and couples, and the decisions that they make in terms of what would be safe for them, what would be appropriate for them, you know, where they are right now in their careers or in their lives to, you know, provide for their families if they're able to do that. And so I think it's so important that we actually, you know, make those conversations available.
My project in 2 areas of focus: young people from rural communities and young LGBTQIA communities, because I feel like they were both underrepresented communities and I felt connected to them in particular ways. I wanted to see what have been the lived experiences of young people. Sometimes there's a lot of pushback in communities, so some people are uncomfortable coming out or speaking openly about their experiences. There was a young mother I spoke to. She used a particular form of contraception before. It was after she had had a baby, so she didn't plan her pregnancy, and then she got pregnant, and she's like, well, I'm going to use this particular form of contraception. And she had made the decision that no, she was ready for another baby, so then she went in and removed her contraception, and she had her baby, and then she went back. And it's not the narrative you expect, that people are actually decision-making and, you know, creating space for people to want to have babies too, and then how do they manage, how do you time and manage around that?
The inspiration for my project came from just the patients I met at the hospital. A lot of them didn't have much information about like family planning, and I thought that if I could find a way to just make information more accessible and in a way that they could understand and could relate to, it would be like so helpful to them. And so I decided to build like a phone app, and we did our websites as well. With the phone app, we have information about like the different types of family planning, and we also have where they could access it in Trinidad for free. Contraception is free in Trinidad at all, well, most health centers. So you just have to go and like tell them you want this, and they'll book you an appointment. It's just that not all health centers would be stocked with everything, so you just have to call and be like, do you have this, or, you know, can I come in and whatever. But it is free, so you just need to, you could go in and get it. So you don't need to go to a gynecologist, you could just go to a health center. The second part of the project, which was we did some work on the field, we went and did surveys just to find out what people think. That experience was like so eye-opening for us because we had so many misconceptions out there, and people were so uncomfortable to discuss something that is just part of us. You know, sexual health is part of us. It's just like mental health, and our physical health is just part of us.
What I think was important and powerful about my project is that it documented some stories of young people around that particular time and their experiences with contraceptives. And doing the project, I built some really key relationships with people. These skills were incredible coming out of the project. I couldn't do all the things I was doing on child marriage, on the Women's March, all of the things that came subsequent to the project.
This project has made me grow so much. In terms of like what we were able to do, the impact, how we affected people's lives, I think it was a positive one. A lot of people didn't have that kind of information before. I remember answering some questions and people were like, oh, I didn't even know this was available. You could like go on a family planning option that would last a couple of years. So I don't have to take a pill every day, because that's what people mainly know. They know the condom and they know the pill, but they don't know the other options.
Yeah, and I think you as a medical doctor, like it puts you in a particularly beneficial position because you're an advocate as well as like a service provider.
Yeah.
So you could give people both sides of it, which is very rare. And I think that is massive to have that kind of intersection happen. There's so many boxes that you tick in terms of accessibility to people.
Yeah.
In your understanding of things, but actually being a young black woman doctor in Trinidad who goes out into communities and does these things is massive. Yes. I'm very impressed with you all the time.
Thank you.
For every 2 steps forward, we sometimes feel like we're taking 2 steps back. But certainly there's more discussion now, I think, more open discussion than there's ever been.
Yeah.
around these kinds of things.
And I think that's a start too, just, having these conversations and being comfortable to do that.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of people coming out and speaking out, and all those things help, make it, at least, if we start questioning and asking, what is the root of this? Why are we doing this? It helps to just have that conversation.